Gruesome and deadly attack on the subway. Police have a person of interest in custody after someone set a woman on fire on an F train, killing her.
Today, charges filed in another horrific murder that has shaken New Yorkers. A woman set on fire on a subway train.
A man suspected of setting a woman on fire on a New York City subway is facing murder and arson charges.
Undocumented immigrant is charged with murder and arson.
An undocumented immigrant from Guatemala.
ICE today, that's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, saying the suspect in this case is a 33-year-old Guatemalan man by the name of Sebastian Zapata, who they say entered the country illegally and was removed by ICE in 2018. But that at some point in time, he crossed back into the country illegally in violation of that deportation order.
You know, we've been talking so much about illegal immigration. We talked about it all throughout the presidential election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump was able to galvanize enough of the United States voters' support because he prioritized immigration. Americans have been complaining about illegal migrants and illegal immigrants and the danger that they represent to American citizens. And I can't think of any story that illustrates this danger more than this example of a woman, a United States citizen, riding the F train in New York and being set on fire by an illegal immigrant who snuck into this country. I don't care who you supported in this last election. I don't care if you supported Donald Trump or if you supported Kamala Harris, but there's one important point that none of us can deny. This illegal immigrant was deported in 2018. Who was president in 2018? Donald Trump. Sometime after that, this illegal immigrant snuck back into the country and murdered a United States citizen riding a subway in New York. Forget about who you supported in the campaign for the presidency in 2024. Imagine this was one of your relatives that was riding on public transit and they had their lives taken by someone who wasn't even supposed to be in this country. I realize that this is an ad hominem argument, but I really want to impress upon everyone, this is one issue that all of us should be in agreement about. If you are a United States citizen, this person would still be alive if the borders are being protected and this Guatemalan illegal immigrant had not been allowed to sneak back into the country to take the life of this United States citizen.
Well, Adam, as you know, the video that circulated on social media was disturbing, and the details that came out in court were also disturbing. Prosecutors say the suspect, Sebastian Zapata, apparently told detectives that he had a drinking problem, that he drank a lot of liquor, and that he has no recollection of what happened. Prosecutors also say that after the suspect allegedly set this woman on fire, he then used a shirt to fan the flames. The man accused of setting a woman on fire while she slept on a subway train in Brooklyn faced a judge today. 33-year-old Sebastian Zapata, an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala, was arraigned on murder and arson charges for killing a fellow strap hanger. Her name is still a mystery because the medical examiner is still trying to identify the woman. The prosecutor said that Zapata allegedly told detectives that he drinks a lot of liquor and doesn't know what happened. Authorities say MTA cameras captured what happened Sunday morning aboard the F train in Coney Island. Police say Zapata and the female victim, who appeared to have a mobility walker with her, rode the train to the end of the line without ever talking to one another. The prosecutor says an MTA camera showed Zapata setting the woman's clothes on fire and then using another shirt to fan the flames. Later in the day, police found Zapata on another F train, this time at Herald Square, after a group of high schoolers recognized him and pointed him out to police.
We see stories about dangers in public transit all over the United States. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. We see stories about this all of the time, about people losing their lives or being harmed just riding public transit, just going to work, just riding public transit to go to an event. We as United States citizens should be safe to ride public transit, but we should especially be safe from individuals who are not supposed to be in this country in the first place. We can guarantee one thing, that you might have some philosophical difference about how Donald Trump is going to handle deportation of illegal migrants, how Tom Hogan is going to address violent criminals first and getting them deported. But what we can agree on, what I hope we can agree on, is that this individual, this person was burned to the point where they can't even do genetic testing to identify this individual. Take a moment and think about that. We have to have law and order in this country. If we cannot protect the borders of this country, we cannot protect the citizens of this country, and if we cannot protect the citizens of this country, then we are going to have a decrease in our standard of living, just the basic law and order and safety that we expect to have when we're just going about our normal everyday lives. Do we want to sacrifice the sovereignty of the United States borders to put another United States citizen in harm's way like this United States citizen was or had their lives taken just riding a train in New York City?
They also don't believe that there was a connection between the suspect and the victim, but that it's not clear that he so much as talked to the victim. The NYPD said that they had a pretty clear description of him. They were able to see him so well because of the surveillance videos that were around the F train at the time, which shows him just right outside of the train watching this horrendous crime take place, and that the police were able to come down. But it was before it was too late for this woman because they smelled smoke. So in the meantime, ICE has issued a detainer to the NYPD so that whenever this suspect is finished with his time in the process, even if that's after a sentencing for homicide and arson, they could then take custody of him and deport him.
I don't know about you. I'm tired. I'm tired of having these philosophical, ideological conversations about whether or not we should or shouldn't let people into this country without vetting them, that all people are equal and that we shouldn't have borders and that we should treat everyone the same. No, we don't treat United States criminals the same as non-criminals. We punish people who break laws in this country, or at least we do it outside of major blue cities like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Denver, Portland, Seattle. I digress. We cannot have, I hate to sound like Donald Trump in this moment. Donald Trump often says, or often said on the campaign trail, that if we don't have a border, we don't have a country. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but what I will say is that if we don't protect our borders, we can't protect our people. You and I should not have to go about our daily lives wondering whether or not we're going to make it home at the end of the day because we might have our lives taken by someone who's not even supposed to be in this country legally in the first place. And I hear some people on the left, they'll make this academic argument and say, well, people who are immigrants, they commit less crime than United States citizens. That might be the case, and the data probably bears that out. At least the data that I've read bears that out. But this individual who set this woman on fire wasn't a legal immigrant. This person was here illegally. They did not go through the process. If that person did not care enough about going through the process and being here legally, then they probably don't care about breaking laws. This was a Guatemalan illegal immigrant that set a woman on fire, according to news reports, fanned the flames, and then sat outside of the train and watched this woman burn from the fire that he set. We cannot continue to accept this antisocial behavior. If you've watched anything on the David Seaton show, you know I don't accept this antisocial behavior from people who are U.S. citizens. I certainly don't think we should be accepting this antisocial behavior from people who snuck into this country and shouldn't be here in the first place. And I'm sure we were probably taking care of this individual in some sort of way, whether it's whatever subsidies. This person was living in New York City and was probably getting subsidies from New York City. Now you have people who are calling for the governor to resign behind this person's life being taken on the F train.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul has triggered an outrage after sharing a post about the improvement in subway safety on the same day that a woman was killed here in New York City. Following the burning of a woman on a Brooklyn subway train by an illegal Guatemalan immigrant, Kathy Hochul is being called to now step down and resign.
I don't know who's to blame here. The blame can go all the way around. It can go from Mayor Adams. It can go to Governor Hochul. It can go all the way up to President Biden for having such a porous border that this individual was able to come into the country and able to take the life of a United States citizen. But I want to hear from you. Let's get this conversation going in the comment section. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We've taken a little bit of a break, but guess what? We're going to keep talking about stories like this and others. We're going to get back to Chicago because this is just, we're talking about New York right now, but New York and Chicago are running neck and neck for the worst cities in the United States. And Oakland is probably in there along with them. We're going to be covering something on Oakland as well. They're having problems out there. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, comment, like, follow The David Seaton Show. We'll catch you in the next one.